Joining us right now on the phone, Tony Reali, the host of Around the Horn and a contributor to Good Morning America. Hey, Tony, how are you?
Wow, when you say it like that, it sounds very impressive.
Well, and we have to add, he's still basking in the knowledge of having a baby.
Congratulations.
Yes. A human baby, yes, Woody Paige. That's been life-changing, but I'm sure not as life-changing as doing a show with Woody Paige, Mr. Shapiro. My condolences to you. I don't know how you manage to have 2 buttons for 2 hours a day. It's the most impressive feat in America.
Tony, we need to talk because you do a great job controlling Woody on Around the Horn. I'm still trying to figure it all out. So you and me on the horn afterwards, all right?
Well, wait till you see today because there's no controlling a show. Woody, how do we say this? Where will we be or when will we be? I think it's the question.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a little bit tough.
Yeah, there were a lot of gigawatts involved in today's show.
Let me pull the curtain back a little bit because I want to give our listeners in Denver the inside scoop here, okay? What we're doing today, a show unlike any other, as we like to say in Around the Horn. Well, in the past, Woody, what have we done for April Fool? We've done...
Mad Men.
We did Mad Men. We did a sitcom show last year. We did a backwards show, and then we did, I think, the greatest April Fool's episode ever is when you chloroformed me. Which was not in the script, by the way. You pulled for me, and you hosted the show. You took control of the show. So that is our history. That is in the past, which is the word I used here purposely. And now in the future is a show we're doing today where Woody had how many wardrobe changes? 4?
4.
4 wardrobe changes. And you got a chance to report on some stories you actually did report on at some point in your life, and then other stories maybe you would want to in the future. Isn't that right?
Yes, it's really a different show, and I'm sure people are going to enjoy it because it's a look, as Tony said, into the past and how we approach those stories as if we were talking that day that it happened and looking at what's going on in the future. I always thought Tony Reali was going to end up as the replacement for Alex Trebek. I think Tony's father wanted him to be the next host of Jeopardy, but I don't know that people have really gotten to talk about your move to Good Morning America and how you're enjoying, as I used to have, to get up so early in the morning and contribute to a morning show. How has that been for you?
Well, I've got the perfect wake-up alarm already in little Francesca, so we've got that going for me. You didn't have Shannon was a little bit older when you were doing morning television, Woody Paige. I mean, my time at GMA, I tell you, that show operates at such a high level. The amount of star power that comes through Good Morning America on any given day. It was my first day, and Robert Downey Jr.'s there, and we're swapping stories about our babies. And the next day, Steve Carell's there, and Taylor Swift's there, and Pitbull's there. I mean, I think, Woody, you saw me on Twitter the day Taylor Swift had a concert, and I was live Snapchatting the concert, and you must have seen all of our viewers of Around the Horn, who aren't exactly Taylor Swift fans, I think we could say, reacting to what that was about. So, I mean, it's just the tour de force that is morning television and the tour de caffeine that happens to get through the day. It's not just peanuts and Coca-Cola, that's for sure.
Yeah, we should also mention...
Did you hear that? You made reference to your peanuts and Coca-Cola.
Yeah. Tony, Les knows about it. He's seen that too. But we've got to mention that Tony, of course, is the modern-day Fordham Flash. He, for people who don't know, he went to Fordham, graduated from Fordham. That's where he got his broadcasting start and was a play-by-play guy. And we should also mention that I think Tony told me something recently that we share the same agent. And my agent said, you know, the 3 biggest things in your life are having a child, changing jobs, and moving from one city to another. And Tony Reali did that all in a matter of a week.
Yeah, I did. And you know what? I mean, I'll be 100% honest with you right now. No more joking. I mean, I was losing weight. I was losing hair. I mean, things were happening that I had no idea. I was starting to make that noise that people make when they bend over, when they get to a certain age. I know you guys are familiar with this, but I don't know when that happened. But every time I bent over, that I'm happy to say, happiness is that in my rearview mirror. I'm deliriously happy being back home in New York City, and I'm, I've got a dream job. I get to shut Woody Paige up for 10 seconds, just 10 seconds at a time, every single day, and that's living the dream.
And by the way, I just want to mention, he said, you said, listeners, we're also on web TV, and your gigantic mug is on a 70-inch television screen.
Looking
now.
right over our shoulders, Tony.
I was going to ask, what are you showing? Okay, well, I mean, I hope it's not the picture of me playing piano with the band or soccer when Alex Morgan beat me for a goal.
No, it's nice. It's your high school graduation picture, just so you know. Hey, Tony, I want to ask you, along that theme, what you just talked about, you're dealing with huge egos on GMA in the morning, and you're dealing with even bigger egos on Around the Horn. So who's the most difficult guy on Around the Horn to shut up, and who's the easiest guy on Around the Horn to shut up? Because you got to do a lot of shutting up there.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think Woody knows. I mean, this is an old line from Goodfellas, which is a movie I've seen once before. It's that the murderers come with smiles, the mutes come with smiles. So, I mean, on any given day, Woody knows that the mute's coming with a smile. But I tell you, I mean, there are days when it's not easy to stop anybody from talking. Because I understand. The guys have a freight train of information that they want to get through to the viewer, and sometimes it's about time. But if I had to answer the question, I'd say I always like a new voice on the show because they'll be very respectful for the first 10 shows or so. So shutting down Kate Fagan has been pretty easy for me the last couple of weeks. But Bomani Jones, Michael Smith, Woody Paige, I mean that's three-quarters of a Mount Rushmore of impossibility to silence.
That's a lot of gray hair right there, Tony.
Well, for me it is.
Yeah, for you. That's what I meant.
Not so much on Bomani Jones and Black and Stone and Classic. Yeah.
Tony, I've been asking this question of athletes that we've had on the show, and one of the Rockies young pitchers, I asked him, what would you be doing if you weren't a pitcher? And he said, racing monster trucks. That was me. I've never asked you this. I've known you now since you were a small child, when you came over to host and was stat boy on Pardon Interruption for people that miss that. But if you hadn't made this directional move when you were young that you wanted to get into broadcasting, what do you think you'd be doing now?
Well, I mean, I wanted to get into it since I was 5 years old. I had a fake microphone, and I would be in front of a TV, and I would say, "This is Anthony Reali." That was from, pretty much day one. But you alluded to this before. My father wants me to host Jeopardy. I mean, to me, I have a history where I wrote trivia questions for a living for a sports spinoff to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire called The 2-Minute Drill. This is way back in 2001 and 2002. I wrote trivia questions for a living. I would love to host Jeopardy. That is, for me, a dream job in another place where I maybe saw myself landing. But what it comes down to is I always want to wear women's makeup for a living, and that's what I get to do.
Tony Reali is the best. Our show changed direction. It took a giant leap forward when he came on because of his energy level, his work ethic. He's like you, Les. I mean, he writes his script. He goes over it very carefully, and the guy's now working 2 serious jobs.
Yeah, he's like me, only a lot more successful.
Well, I'll say this though: we call that work ethic in my family because I got it from my grandparents who were the first generation here who instilled that in you. But I'm about to jump on a train. I might lose you guys, but I'm going to say this right now: today's Around the Horn, not one you want to miss. Wherever we may be, whenever we may be, I think you can hear Woody talk about some stories you remember. Just to give a couple clues, Michael Jordan back playing baseball, and Steve Bartman's in the show. But then we also go to the future and imagine stories that may be, and even some future 1,000 years from now. So I hope you guys enjoy it.
Thank you, Tony, very much.
Thanks, Tony.
We appreciate you coming on the show.
Good work.